Check out Dan and all of his great flag installation kits at theflagkeeper.com. Back in with Ray Hartmann. It's been a while, man. How are you doing?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Starting off the new year slow. I feel like it's like a Groundhog Day at this point. But January is always one of those months, you know?
Yep, it is.
Well, your Substack's doing really well, and it's been interesting to follow. You know, how has it been? Just before we talk about your latest pieces and all of that, just with Substack and the latest since we talked last.
I like it. It's called Ray Hartmann Soapbox. If anybody wants to find it, that's all you got to type in and into the internets, and that'll the World Wide Web, as people of my age like to say. Doing fine. Am I hearing an echo? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I like doing it. It's just sort of a labor of love in a lot of ways. But, I get to vent 3 days a week.
Well, and take me through your latest piece or in the latest couple, because you've had a lot of subject matter to write about lately.
Yeah, I was very critical of the Democratic Party. I don't know if you saw last Friday. Hold on one second. I seem to be getting an echo here. You there?
Yep, I'm here.
Sorry, I don't know this radio thing that well. Apparently, I've heard about it, and I'm so old. I remember before when it was first created. Last Friday, the Democratic Party, under Chuck Schumer, who I call the human reading glasses, they issued a statement that said, all we're going to talk about in 2026 is affordability and the economy, and we're going to say it over and over and over. And I'm like, are you folks not aware? Have you no self-awareness whatsoever? I mean, the idea that we're dealing with watching our democracy, fall apart before our eyes. We're having women, a woman was shot in the head by the ICE secret police, and our federal government not only forbid somehow, I don't know how they did it, the state and local officials from investigating it, and not only are they not investigating the ICE agent who basically, it looks like, murdered this woman who was driving away, but they want to investigate all the left-wing organizations in Minneapolis. Their idea of a civil rights investigation now is to see who convinced this woman to be, have her car, and she wasn't impeding anybody. She was trying to drive away. They want to go after the organizations in Minneapolis. So, I mean, we're beginning to live in a police state, and for real. And we're also living in a time when our country is being disgraced by having a president who's trying to emulate Napoleon. And we're like, whatever you think of arresting Maduro in Venezuela, I'm not wild about that. I wasn't wild about when we do it with Noriega, but there's at least an argument about that.
Sure.
But the idea that Donald Trump's declared himself president of Venezuela and we're stealing their oil. I mean, and now we want to go to war with NATO, basically, at Greenland. I mean, we're losing our mind. I mean, this is really serious stuff. This is not the Chicken Little stuff anymore, CJ. This is really pretty awful. And I think a lot of Americans are just numb to it. But I mean, the idea that the Democrats' response to this is basically to say we want to talk about affordability. It's kind of like a bad dream.
Well, and see, this is where I find it more fascinating than anything. I mean, you're preaching to I feel like the proverbial choir on this. Is just there's a huge disconnect when it comes to, it seems like what a lot of the Democratic voters want compared to what party leadership wants. And honestly, it's really not that different on the Republican side of things either right now. It's like they're both waving their hands like Leslie Nielsen and Naked Gun, saying nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Let's hammer affordability and let's not talk about any of the things we really could grab a hold of and campaign on.
I think you're right. And Gen Z calls it Delulu. I told my kids. You Gen Z? I think you're just you're just.
I'm kind of a
barely
hybrid.
outside of Gen
I'm
Z.
like right at.
You're close enough. No, I mean, it's like I said, this is like the house is burning down and we're having coffee with the decorators in the kitchen right now. I mean, it's like, what do we, that was just a line in my thing, but I mean, it's like, and you don't even have to agree politically with someone like myself who's on the left of the spectrum a bit, not as far as some people are, but it's not about that. I don't think the average American wants us to be marauding around the country. I mean, the world, threatening dictators, having trade wars. This is the polar opposite of what Donald Trump talked about when he ran, not only in 16 but 20, about not being against nation building and forever wars. That's one of the reasons he got a lot of support in 16 was there were people that felt that both the Democrats and Republicans were too aggressive about involving America in in some things, and it was sort of the globalism, and that there was sort of an isolation streak. And I don't know that we've ever. This kind of goes beyond imperialism. It's too corrupt just to call it imperial. We're basically saying that. I mean, we literally are saying out loud that country has wonderful natural resources, including oil. I'm talking about Venezuela. We want it, and we're going to take it. It's like, what is that? What are we doing?
Well, and see, does it feel like a midterm year to you? I mean, to me, it just doesn't seem like we're all at anyone's. And I know it's early in January. I mean, I get it, but it just seems like it really just does not have the same umph as normal other, like the last midterm Trump was a part of when they lost.
Well, one of the reasons is, and this I referred to this in my piece, I'm not sure we're having elections. I know people think they're going to say what they want to say. I'm telling you, you can take note of, and I don't. I'm not exactly great at predictions, but I mean, I'm not. If anybody watched me on Donnybrook for 37 years, they know not to trust my predictions. I don't want to call it a prediction, CJ, but I will say this. I think there is a much greater danger that we will have the elections postponed this year than people realize. Because if Donald Trump is every so often they'll say something out loud that you ought to listen to. He has acknowledged publicly that he will be impeached. He just said it. If the Democrats take the House, do you think, given what you know about Donald Trump now, that he's going to let that happen?
That's a good point. I mean, it really, and that's really, that is the kind of Republican fighting call this time around. Is if we lose, it's over.
And understand something. I wasn't a fan of William Barr, the previous Attorney General, but there were people like Barr, like the various military leaders who, like Milley, you name it, the people who were in the first term of the Trump administration, who were the so-called guardrails and who reined in Donald Trump. Not only do the people or the folks around him, like Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance, frankly, and Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem, all these people, and particularly Noem and Miller, they realize that if Trump goes down and we return to any kind of normalcy, they could be looking at criminal prosecutions for what they're doing. I mean, they really could. I'm not saying anything more than that. They have a great deal to lose when Donald Trump loses. I mean, and they should have a great fear of the unknown of what might happen to them in terms of the criminal justice system if any kind of normalcy returns to the country. Okay. Yeah. And I gotta tell you, so they are his folks around him aren't just enablers now. They are actually co-conspirators. I mean, they are in a spot where they need to be as concerned for their future. And I'm talking about a whole lot of people that realize their backs are to the wall, and it's not like Donald Trump's doing this by himself anymore. So, and I'm not accusing anybody specifically of anything. I'm just saying it's not like it's just one guy. He's got a whole team of people who have a great deal of skin in this game.
Well, and see, this is where it becomes even more fascinating is, past midterms is the whole 2028 conversation, with everything, because we don't really know who the Democratic front runner is going to be. We don't know really who the Republican front runner is going to be. Everyone keeps saying it's Vance or it's going to be Rubio. You never know. Ted Cruz is already positioned, and you got everyone else. It could be a
Josh Hawley.
Yeah. Well, he's running to that race, Ray. I actually heard he got his shoes on and he's ready to keep running.
But don't underestimate Josh Hawley as a politician. Let me tell you,
that's true. But it's just it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? There's not really for for this whole movement that's built. This is where I do find it as just a complete independent thought. Is what does the Republican Party look like post Trump? Do they continue with it? Can they? And then on the Democratic side is what's the vision? Because Chuck Schumer ain't working. This idea is just not. It's not bringing people out.
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell. Obviously, I would say if it were tomorrow, I would say Gavin Newsom has a fairly, probably would be, I would guess, the early favorite, but that doesn't necessarily mean a lot. It means something. A lot of early favorites on both sides of the party, both parties, both sides of the aisle have fizzled. Certainly, Rudy Giuliani was one, and before Bush. In 2008, actually, before McCain. But and there's others. I mean, the Democrats, Howard Dean didn't last too long as a front runner. There's just a lot of folks like that. But I don't know. I think it's way too early to even think about what a post-Trump era would look like. I mean, I've seen things people say, "Oh, it's going to return." I do. You got to remember something. As much of a nightmare as we're going through, some of the Donald Trump arguably exploited the feelings. He didn't necessarily create them. Okay, so we've been having this kind of. You go back to 2010 and the Tea Party, which seems very civil compared to what we got now. But a lot of the xenophobia, for example, and the fear of immigrants and stuff preceded Donald Trump. He just he was, as demagogues do, he was able to capitalize on it. See it happening in Europe today with various right-wing politicians.
Well, and see, this is where it gets it. When do you see the messaging start to, I guess, turn up a little bit when it comes to the midterms? Because primaries are always interesting anymore. I mean, to me, it's just you got to get out of a primary in a tough district or a gerrymandered one. It's harder than the general. Where do you see it? Where do you see that message get inflated?
The only thing I see for sure is me not running again for I just don't know, DJ. I could try to answer that, but I don't know. I really, what's happened just in the last month is at such an accelerated pace, and I don't know if people are getting that. I mean, we've gone from, there's been a lot of pearl clutching, hand wringing, bedwetting, whatever you want to call it, for the last year since Trump was elected. Understand, we're not even at the 1 year point of the Trump administration. Right. I mean, we are in a couple of weeks, or next week, I guess. But I got to tell you, what's happened just in the last 30 days is really taking us to a different level. And I don't know what's happening. I kind of worry that people are numb and don't, the way the news cycles work. I mean, just think in the last 30 days, he's fundamentally taken over CBS News. Okay. I mean, he's fundamentally, we've basically, with really no provocation, taken over. I mean, whatever you think of Maduro, it's like we've basically seized Venezuela's oil. Okay. And said so.
Right.
I mean, and we have had ICE double down on attacking Americans, and by the way, terrorizing immigrants, many of whom are illegal, in cities that have the misfortune of being located in Democratic states. Understand, they're not doing this in Republican states. Okay, it's blatantly partisan. It's we will punish you in Seattle or Portland or Minneapolis or Chicago. These are all cities with Democratic mayors and Democratic governors. They're not even pretending that it's not.
Well,
I mean, they're not doing ICE raids as far as we know. You don't hear really about ICE raids in Texas, do you? I'm sure there may be stuff. I shouldn't say that, but not like this.
Well, and see, this is where, I mean, the bigger question is, and I guess not really a bigger question, but do you think, just as what I thought about the other, I mean, as much people who don't like Nancy Pelosi is a polarizing figure, but it seemed like there was just at least more of a consistent message and a consistent, angle for midterms and for all these elections. Yeah. And it just seems like now there's really no true, there's leadership, but maybe it shows you it's not as good as it should be.
Oh, there's no question she's missed. And I mean, Hakeem Jeffries seems like a really good man, but I'm not sure he's up to this moment. And I am positive Chuck Schumer isn't. And I mean, he isn't. I mean, look, his heart's in the right place, but if Chuck Schumer didn't exist, the Republicans would need to invent him. I mean, he is I'm sorry. He needs to just move on. I mean, and I say that of being a certain age. He needs to let some new blood come in, and he's not helping at all. I will say he somehow, I mean, I don't even understand how he keeps the support he has in the Senate, but that may speak more to the lack of purpose and forcefulness and seriousness of the Democrats in the Senate. I mean, if you listen to them individually, if you listen to Senator Kuhn, or you watch them, they're articulate and they're really great. But the point is, collectively, they just can't, get
out of their own damn way,
Yeah. I mean, and again, Blumenthal, for example, these are really brilliant people, but they just, I don't know what happens to them, but they individually, again, you watch a Blumenthal being interviewed on TV, he's brilliant. I mean, he's great and he says all the right things. But at the end of the day, they fall back in line. I didn't hear a single one protest. I wrote this piece. Like I said, I couldn't believe it. I just said, are Democrats not sick of losing? I mean, they really think that in this environment where we're talking about ICE raids, when we're talking about I mentioned Epstein.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump is so guilty of something that he has gone completely to the mat. I mean, completely to the mat in terms of keeping anything out from suppressing the Epstein files. There's no way he's not guilty of something. I don't know what it is, but you just don't go to that when you're a narcissist like he is. The idea that he's looking out for other people is just laughable.
Well, that's why I like.
So I don't know. You got Epstein. You got this international war with all our allies, which of course helps Vladimir Putin. We virtually abandoned Ukraine. I mean, these are real crises in the world, and we're not. And obviously, the domestic terrorizing of millions of Americans, and we're like, I don't know what to say to people. It's like, I know that people, particularly like me, have been guilty of hyperbole. I remember when I thought George W. Bush was the worst president ever. God, seriously. I mean, he looks like Abe Lincoln right now.
Well, and see, that's where it just goes back to goes back to this point that you made is just, there's all these, to me, these other things that Democrats and Democratic voters and even independent voters are talking about. in some way, shape, or form. And it's like, again, it's just for whatever reason, let's just ignore the voter and just stick to what these party. I hate to say it's not party elite, but I mean it kind of is. Let's stick to what we know best, and this is let's drive home affordability from Chuck Schumer because we're going to fall in line with them anyway.
It's just, I'm sorry if this. When you're talking about affordability, first of all, both parties do this, where they blame the other, and this isn't a partisan statement. A president doesn't really impact prices the way people, including the mainstream media, acts like it. I mean, there's so many external factors, often internationally grounded, to what causes inflation or what drives unemployment, and I'm no economist. It's above my pay grade. The point is, it's a bunch of complex factors that you can't just say, well, gee, inflation's down under Joe Biden. He must have done great. Or, gee, now it's up under Joe Biden. He's horrible. I mean, it isn't that simple. Okay. And it's on both. I'm not saying that as a partisan. If the economy's bad under Donald Trump, it may not be Donald Trump's fault. I mean, that's just a fact. And so this whole concept that you're in office, the economy's bad, I want you out of office, whether it's Trump or Biden or whoever, is a little bit oversimplified, to be honest about it.
Yeah.
But even if it is Trump's fault, even if you say what's the tariffs or this or that caused my, the price of broccoli to go up. Well, if the Democrats make it about that, they're normalizing all the rest of this stuff as if it isn't happening. And that's what's driving me crazy, CJ. I mean, it's like, hello.
Well, to me, it's a dangerous.
Are you guys not seeing what's happening?
To me, it's a dangerous game. Like, just going back to this before, just on top of it, it's dangerous because you can't, like you said, there's a lot of factors. So to go and campaign and say, hey, your grocery prices are going to be down, all these things are going to change. I mean, you better hope for a damn miracle, because what's going to happen whenever you have your voters in your district coming knocking on your door, calling you 100,000 times a month, saying, why is it even more out of my reach now than it was when you got into office? It's dangerous.
Yeah, but I'd settle for that problem.
I guess.
I'm talking about the fact that I don't think they understand that you're dealing with a man right now who I think is unstable. I don't think there's much question about that. And I do not think he is prepared to allow another way we talked about is gerrymandering. Now, look, both parties gerrymander. No one has ever done what Trump's doing. Yeah. I mean, he's gone around the country and said explicitly, we need to win this election. We need to gerrymander. I mean, to the point where he threatened Missouri. He forced Missouri above the objections of Mike Keogh, the governor, and a lot of Republicans, to take away Emanuel Cleaver's seat in Kansas City. I mean, they just forced him. And the Republicans went along. They expressed great reservation at the beginning for about 5 minutes, and just said, we can't stand up to the pressure. Yep. And so we've got to gerrymander, say whether, and I don't know what the courts are going to do. I have a feeling it's not going to go through still. It may stay the way it is. Well, I mean, I ran in the second district, the people running in the second district, and I'm not getting involved in it, really don't know what district they're running in right now. Because if the old map holds up, they know it. But in the new map, my understanding is the second district, where I ran and currently live, would be in fact, I wouldn't be living in it. But I mean, and again, I gave it my shot, and I'm staying out of that.
It's just terrible. Well, the gerrymander, it's just going to get to the point, like we said earlier, and keep saying, is you got to get out of your primary, and then you'll be fine. But it's just,
it's, we'll see. But I every time somebody talks about the elections in November, I just keep thinking, I really don't think Donald Trump is at the age he's at, is prepared to lose in 26. And I think if you look at everything he does and says, and all the profanity and all the threats and all the horrible, these everybody's kind of used to all these tweet storms in the middle of the night. I got to tell you something. We're really dealing with a very troubled individual, and not only is his back to the wall in his mind, but all of his folks around him. And I think this is a very serious situation that people ought to be thinking about. And that is, it's when you ask the simple question, what do the Democrats have to do to win? I think they got to get tougher.
Yeah.
And realize that there might not be elections unless they grow a spine. I don't know. We'll see. I just don't. I feel like, again, I keep coming back to that analogy, but the working, talking to the decorator while the house on fire. But I mean, it's like, I just don't think it's, I don't think it's sunk in that how serious the situation is right now. And it's way beyond your politics. I'm sure you have listeners who are conservatives just as much as liberal. And even if you liked MAGA and the ideas of it, you ought to be thinking about, as an American, is this what we want? Because the Democrats could get, who knows if there is a Democratic comeback. I don't think most people, I certainly wouldn't favor Democrats wielding this kind of power.
Well, it creates a power, and that's one bigger question is the precedent it sets, and that's one for another day. Ray Hartmann, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry to be such a Debbie Downer.
No, it's okay. Ray Hartmann Soapbox is where.
Thank you for having me on, CJ. It's Ray Hartmann Soapbox. If anybody wants to check it out,
and we'll link all that in a write up on RiverBender.com. We'll come back top of the hour news right around the corner on RiverBender.com and Apple Podcasts.